It's like I'm wandering through the desert alone, just trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go. There's no one to hold your hand unless you want to pay a very large sum of money, which most startups don't have
Right.
available.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of just relying on other people's little pieces of information to help guide you.
Hey, Mama. Welcome to the Working Moms Playbook, the go-to podcast for moms balancing careers and babies. I'm your host, Antonia DePace, former editor, current marketing maven, and mom of one. Each week, we're breaking down the systems, mindsets, and support every working mom needs to thrive, whether it be at work, at home, or everywhere in between. So let's get into it. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Working Moms Playbook. I am your host, Antonia, and I am so excited to announce that we are launching a brand new series for WMP, and it is called Built by Mom. What is Built by Mom, you ask? This series is going to add on to the WMP playlist for mom-founded businesses. Their stories, their spotlights, all will inspire and educate so that you can hear a little bit more about how they are making entrepreneurship work for them. To start this entire series off, I am welcoming today's guest, Melissa Farrow, who is the founder of MomAid, which is a company that brings health products, first aid products to mothers for postpartum and beyond, pretty much everything that we need after we have the baby, whether it be for us or actual babies. So welcome, Melissa. I'm so excited to have you on.
I am so excited to be the first guest on this series.
Let's start out by having you introduce yourself. Tell me more about you, not only as a mom, but also as an entrepreneur.
So I live in Oklahoma, central Oklahoma, just north of Oklahoma City in Edmond. And I am a mom of three. I've got a wide range. I have a 14-year-old daughter, 13-year-old son, and then a recent 4-year-old daughter. So she just turned 4 a couple weeks ago. And then I have been a real estate agent for the last 10 years, a little over 10 years. So that's what I've been doing. It allows a flexible schedule. So I love that with the kids' sports and working on MomAid. It's great because I can still do both.
Right.
And married to my husband, Chuck, and we're just living that suburban life.
Great. What is that like, starting a business while being a mom of three? That's a village.
Yes, I was just this morning like I have no time in my day. There's nothing. There's not like a spare moment. I'm like, and honestly, I'm not a great evening worker, if you will. So it's like I'm so exhausted by the time I get everybody to bed and like the dogs let out, everybody's good to go. I'm like dead to the world. I just like become mushed into my bed. So I'm like, I'm not working till like 1 or 2 a.m. or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how do you figure out that schedule?
I mean, you just like make it work. Like there are things I prioritize. So I prioritize my workouts. It's basically therapy to me. So it keeps me emotionally, mentally, physically capable. So I do prioritize that first thing in the morning. And then it's like get kids off to school and everything. I go work out. And then between sets and things, I'm working on my phone, checking emails and responding or checking social media to see if anybody's messaged or whatever. And then back home, I will try to work for like 3 to 4 hours before pickup starts again. And pickup starts, and I am a unpaid Uber driver until like 7 p.m. So it's great. I love it. But it is, I mean, it's a lot. So, but it's just a phase of life. So I always tell myself, like it may be hectic right now and stuff, but it's a phase and it'll move on. And I'm sure I'll probably miss it, but we'll see.
Yeah. I do tell myself that all the time. I'm like, at one point, I will be like sleeping in my bed with no baby crying, no one really wanting me, kind of probably twiddling my thumbs, unsure what to do with myself after all these years of being like needed.
Yeah.
Let's jump into your story with MomAid. Tell me what was happening in your life when the idea for your business came to you and how you have grown it to where you are today.
Okay, so it's going to be some juicy details that maybe not everybody loves to hear, but they're coming at you. So I did not have extreme pain breastfeeding and pumping with my older two. I don't know what was different, but something was different. With my most recent one that's 4, I exclusively pumped and I started to get mastitis. So I kind of was pumping more aggressively. Well, I got basically a fissure. So, like a wound where your areola meets your nipple. And they don't get a chance to heal because it's in constant use. Like it gets a 2-hour break and then here we go again.
Right.
So I don't know if it was like a flange issue in the beginning or what, but somewhere it went wrong. And they're dry, cracked, bleeding. And they just never got reprieve because then you would wear your disposable nursing pads and it would be trying to heal. And you would take that off to pump again and it would pull any healing skin and wounds off with it. So it's like just reopening the wound. And so I was like, there has to be something that will like protect my poor little nipples. Well, after like scouring the internet for hours, I came across the silverettes, the little silver cups. There's things that would help to heal and protect because like my Oklahoma twang coming out. Um, they'll help to heal and protect the nipples, but they didn't absorb milk. So then these silverettes that are like large, you couldn't really like I couldn't just wear them around all day out in public and stuff because you could totally see them. So, and then if one got knocked off, it would have like some breast milk that had leaked out into it and get on you. And I was like, there's got to be something like someone smarter than me has come along. Like, how long have we been breastfeeding for? Someone surely figured something out. Well, there was nothing that was like would help to heal and protect your nipples along with absorbing milk. So that is where the idea was born. Probably like 10:30 p.m. me crying as I was pumping and wishing I would just give it up, but I'm too stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Where all the best ideas come from.
yes. So that's where the product idea came from. The name idea was just total brainstorming constantly for boob aid nursing pads. And I was in the shower and I was like, what about boob aid? Like a band-aid for your boob. And so that's where that came from. The original concept had a concave center that would be pre-filled with ointment. So I was like, one less step. You peel it off and then you just apply it and there's ointment sitting on it. But that was going to be way too costly. And they were like, human hands will have to touch it. Like, you're not going to be able to make money on it. It just won't be feasible. So we switched and changed to a different design.
Okay, so what is that new design now? Explain that to me.
So the new design, along with wanting something that wasn't going to stick to your healing nipples, I also wanted something that had stronger adhesive because when you pull down your nursing bra to breastfeed or pump, it was like that would get kind of bunched up, the nursing pad would. And then you put your bra back on and it's still bunched up and like it's not sticky anymore. And so you have to start over. So I wanted stronger adhesion on the back. So we did that like strong enough that you could move it from like a few bras and it would still be sticky, but not like pull your clothes apart sticky. And then also be a little more absorbent. So like a mom could make it through a work day without having to switch pads.
I know the ointment situation didn't work out. Can you still put ointment on there? Is there that little concave base still, or how is that working on that end of things?
No, so it's flat. So the way we designed it is it's your basic nursing pad, all cotton, breathable. And then it's got a silicone center. So it's a circle. Currently, the current design we're having to work through right now is it's going to be a current circle that's a breathable, BPA-free silicone center. So the silicone is medical grade and it won't irritate sensitive skin or anything, but it also won't stick to any of that healing wounds or skin.
Great.
And it allows your ointment to absorb into your nipple and not into that cotton pad. So I feel like half your ointment you're applying is just going into the pad.
Yep. And too, because then it gives each mom a choice about which ointment she wants to use.
Right. We prefer you use MomAid, but you know.
just so you guys know.
Yes. But we'll one product at a time.
So it's so interesting to think about, you know, we as moms, we go from, and of course you were already a mom when this started to occur, so you had kind of already had that identity shift that you have after you give birth to your first child. But there is that whole identity shift where you go from just a woman, like living your life, to a mom where all of a sudden you have to worry about a dependent. And then on top of it, you then shifted into becoming a problem solver. And now you are a founder / CEO of your own company, which is really cool that it all came into that. And of course, you're helping other moms who are experiencing the same issues that you had that are just not talked about enough, really, which is why there's such a gap in the industry for items that actually work and help us. So I have certainly been victim to the boob pad losing adhesive as you clip on, clip off, and then clip on again. It's torturous. It just doesn't make any sense. Moving into that, of course, there's the whole topic of the fact that so many of us don't truly understand postpartum recovery and everything that comes around with that. What are some of the biggest pieces of postpartum recovery? And of course, this plays into MomAid, but it also plays into your experience as a mom of 3, that you think people really don't understand, whether they are preparing to be a mom, whether they are not preparing to be a mom. Maybe they're preparing to be a mom again and they just had a really easy process the first time around.
I mean, yeah, every time is different. It's like drastically different every time. With all 3 of my kids are very different. You know, all my births were pretty easy, so I didn't have any traumatizing birth experience or anything like that. But I mean, it's, if we're being honest, being someone who is creating things for breastfeeding, I totally hated it. Like, I was not one of those people that was like, oh, this is sweet, I love this, what's bonding time, I don't ever want to end. I was like, I gotta make it to a year and then we're done. Like, I loved them, and I think breast milk is the best if it's possible to do breastfeeding, at least partially. It's it's made from, nature. Like, God gave this to us. So, but so I am a big supporter of breastfeeding, obviously. But I mean, I feel like just moms being real about like their experiences, and like it's not all cookie cutter and everyone doesn't have the same experience, and there's not products for everybody that has all these different experiences. So it's like, it's almost like you just tough it out and deal with it and get past a year and then keep going if you want, or quit if not. And it's like, nobody really has tailored products to like more than surface level issues. So I'm trying to help bridge the gap with that. And just being honest about it. Like, not every mom loves breastfeeding, but we suffer through it because it's, it's what I think is best for the baby. My first one was on formula and breast milk after she got to 8 months. So, I didn't exclusively breastfeed with her.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is too, some people love to breastfeed, right? Some prefer to pump and combo feed in that way or just do formula. But for those who are like choosing to breastfeed or pump, especially on the pumping side, I feel like a lot of moms will be like, I don't need the nursing pads. But, you know, as you said in the beginning, like you weren't sure if it was because there was a wrong size flange, which a lot of people just don't even know is a thing, right?
Right.
It's something you can experience when you're exclusively pumping or
Oh, yeah.
breastfeeding. Yeah.
They're still leaking.
Yeah.
You better
they're
wear a
still
pad
leaking.
or you'll be at the grocery store and another baby will be crying and your boobs will start leaking. And then you'll have these big
Well,
circles. I guess if you're at the grocery
seriously.
store, you could just run over to the aisle and grab a box and put some in. But yeah,
There's already a stain in your shirt at that point, so.
it's too late.
It's a little too late. I remember that was like one of the most, like, it was such a self-conscious moment because I always had to be checking. It was kind of, I relate it back to when you first started to get your period in like middle school or high school and you were always so paranoid about leaking through your pants. Like all of a sudden you think you're done with that. You have it all under control and then you have a baby. And if you decide to breastfeed or pump, you're like, oh my God, am I, all of a sudden you're worried about leaking again.
I know. And you could worry about leaking from sneezing
Yeah.
out your bladder.
That too.
We're
So
leaking
we're
from
over it.
age 12 to like 50 something. I don't know, 60.
Oh God, not to scare anybody, but it's true.
This is real life, people.
It's real life. It's real life, and it's frightening. But it's manageable. You can manage it.
Yes. Yes.
So then let's go into more of your process when it comes to actually building the business. You did touch on the different aspects and the different product timeline of what it was in the beginning and what it's grown into now. But let's talk more about actually like being a part
The real
of
life
the product.
steps.
Yeah, the real life steps, the product development. What was the hardest part? Give me all of the good stuff.
So I had the idea for this like 6 months before I really started to move on it. I was waiting on my house to sell because then I was like, well, then I'll have all this equity and I won't have to get a loan and blah, 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 blah. Well, I ended up getting a renter in there and I was like, screw it, I'm just going to go for it. So I was actually it was like Thanksgiving break of 2023. And I was in a cabin in Eastern Oklahoma with my sister, my husband, my brother-in-law, and we were talking. And then I think she was 1.5 at that point. My older kids were at their grandpa's that lives out there, and we were talking about the nursing pad. I was talking to my sister about it. My brother-in-law was like, "What are you guys talking about?" So I started talking to him about it, and he's like,
What?
yeah, he was like, have you checked at Oklahoma State University? They have an inventor assistance program. And I was like, oh, no, I haven't. So I got on and looked on that, and that kind of got the ball rolling. What they did, and I'm sure other colleges around the country have this, but their engineering department has this program where you apply, they take only a certain percentage of companies, but then they walk you through like, they make sure if you need to file a patent or trademark, they see if they kind of do like a pre-scan for all of that to see so that you have an idea, and it's all for free.
Okay.
They'll build you a prototype. So they built me some prototypes. They connected me with a really good patent attorney here in Oklahoma and kind of gave me some next steps and kind of guided me, which was great. They connected me with a couple people. And then they continued to be a resource. Like I would ask them questions and stuff if I had something. So that started that. So we filed for a patent on the nursing pad design February of 2024. So then from there, I had to find and design an engineering firm to do a real life prototype. So I scoured the internet, found a few companies that I liked. One who's supposed to be the biggest in the nation said they would not do it. One of them did not ever call me back. And then, yeah, I was like, this is God slamming door after door.
Yeah.
And then the other one is in California, and they're more of a boutique broker design engineering firm.
Okay.
And I liked them a lot. They were very hands-on. I kind of interviewed him. He's like, we worked with panty liners, we worked with he was like camel toe preventers. So he was like, nothing scares me. So we went through the process, and that's when they told me that it was going to cost too much to do the concave center. So I had already started working on formulation for a nipple ointment to go into that. And so I already kind of had a base formula. So we started like kind of building on that with a chemist that they worked with, kind of like contract work. So got that basic formulation down, and then kind of honed in the nursing pad design. And then they gave me a list, and they had them sign NDAs they went through and like pre-qualified manufacturers in China. And they did China because that's what they were familiar with and who they had dealt with. So they went through and found it was like 4 or 5 manufacturers, had them sign NDAs. And then I contacted them and was doing like videos at like 9 p.m. with them because of the time difference. Found one I really liked. They honestly, I don't even remember why I was going to go with them. Then all the tariff stuff started happening. So I was like, I had a call with another girl, and she said, she was actually working on this really cool project. I should check in with her. It was for helping to prevent miscarriages, something along those lines. And she was like, have you checked in Taiwan? They're very similar to China, but easier to deal with. So I was like, well, I have not. So I checked with Taiwan, and all of this takes a long process because they have to take it and show their engineers, and then they come back with questions. So it's like a 2-month process going back and forth. So I found a couple in Taiwan I liked. Then one said, well, we can't do this. We don't know enough about nursing pads. So then this other one was going to do it. Well, then their pricing like doubled. And so I was like, well, this isn't feasible.
Okay.
So here we are back at square one. So I hired a company called Gemba, and they're kind of like a liaison. So they have all these offices in other countries. They're based in Austin, Texas, and they have like Chinese and English speaking women. I'm sure there's men. I've only dealt with women so far. And they actually did a site visit to one manufacturer to make sure that it was good quality standards were all high and it was clean. But they also checked in Vietnam to see if anybody could make this. Vietnam was actually going to have to get all the materials from China. So their pricing was higher. And then I was like, well, what if something happens with the product going from China to Vietnam? Sounds like a disaster. So I was like, all roads lead back to China. So I circled back to China, back to the person that I wanted to use in the beginning. They were on board. We went through the whole process. Last summer, I thought we were going to launch, and then they were like, oh, hey, our engineers now, instead of wanting you to buy this $50,000 piece of equipment, say we need a whole new machinery to do it, and it's $130,000. So I was like, well, that's fine and all. Like, I'm very confident that these things are going to sell, but that's a lot of money to spend on a product that hasn't even been on the market. Like,
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
no validity. Like, it's all hearsay at this point. So I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense. So that design actually has the silicone as the third layer, and a hole punches the top 2 layers out, which are the absorbing layers, the cotton, and then the absorption, and then the silicone, and then there's like the backing. Machine comes and stamps out a circle out of the top, exposing the silicone, and then it's almost heat pressed to seal all those layers together. So it just flows like one cohesive. So I went back to the design board and came up with the idea that if we could get a really thin piece of silicone made that has adhesion on the back, we would put it on top of the nursing pads we're going to use. and do a first run, 10,000 boxes, which is 1.2 million pads, which is crazy. I'm like, that sounds like so many.
It does, but then you think about like the fact how many you use in the beginning and
Right.
all the moms that could be ideally buying this, and it ends up actually not being
As
not
many?
being so many. Yeah.
Yeah. So the minimum order has to be the 10,000. So I'm like, okay, they'll hand apply these. We won't make any money on them, but it'll show validity. And then we can buy that piece of equipment. Like, I'm comfortable with that decision. Well, then the Chinese people were like, oh, no, we're not going to do that for you. So I was like, ugh. So then I finally found one that I really like. And they made me sample nursing pads. And I've had moms that are like Medela and some of the other bigger names. They've tried, have given them rashes, like their skin is too sensitive. I've gotten great feedback that these were amazing. They loved them. So that's where we are on the pads. I actually have the samples of silicone that they just sent me after Chinese New Year that I have to apply to the nursing pads and get some mamas to test them. But that's my next steps with that.
Okay, awesome. I mean, it has been a long road, which
Yes.
I feel like you almost expect when you're going to launch a product, but certainly there's been a lot of back and forth. What
Yeah.
would you say, especially not having a background from what I can understand in product development, what has
I
been
did
the
not.
biggest learning curve in building MomAid so far?
Um, I always say it, I'm like, it's like I'm wandering through the desert alone, just trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go. There's no one to hold your hand unless you want to pay a very large sum of money, which most startups don't have
Agree.
available.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of just relying on other people's little pieces of information to help guide you. So I think that's been like, it's definitely honed in my like outreach ability and my skills and my like not being afraid to or ask questions. Um, Luckily, I've had a few women that have given me some really good pieces of advice that normally charge large amounts of money for consultations and stuff, but they did some calls with me because of somebody I knew. And so that's worked well, but it's just, I think the whole thing, it's just every day is a new day. So while I was doing this, I was like, okay, why don't we, instead of just waiting, it was like last October or something, maybe August. I was like, let's just not wait on doing the nipple ointment. Let's just get something on the market to start building our brand so that when we launch the nursing pads, people will already know us.
Okay.
So that's where I got that formulation honed in, did a lot of samples, did a lot of testing from some local moms. Everybody loved it. Nobody had any complaints or any changes. So we went ahead and produced it.
Well, that's
And
great.
that's two versions of that, a tallow based and then just an original that's grapeseed oil based
Okay.
for anybody that doesn't like the animal byproducts.
Yeah. So at the time of filming this episode, because as a mom, we all know we can't do it on a week to week basis. Has to be ahead of time. Uh,
Yes.
you're 1 week away from launch basically, but by the time this episode comes out, you will hopefully be full-fledged launch on the boob balm, as they
Nipple
say.
ointment. Yeah.
The nipple ointment. Like, why am I the boob balm? Please. You could take that one though too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And from what I understand, you have a fairly like all natural belief system, right? Like you love all natural clean ingredients, and that's why audiences or buyers, clients can expect from these nipple creams as well.
Yes. I'm all about the all natural. I mill my own flour, if that tells you anything.
Don't even get me started.
I make my toothpaste. I'm the only one in the house that uses it, but I make it for me. I make my own tallow whipped body butter. So the more natural, the better. But yes, so my standards for the nipple ointment and its ingredients are very high. I mean, I am not a chemist by any means, but I did a lot of research on what current nipple ointments have in them, what would be better, more effective ingredients. given we have some of the same like shea butter, beeswax, olive oil, aloe, calendula, things like that. But then also we have things and then like cabbage seed oil. Cabbage seed oil is like very potent and very effective at like anti-inflammatory and calming down your inflamed skin and actually helping it to heal. So I added things that other people, I don't know if they've even considered, but we are going to be a luxury brand, but we will be actually effective. So current nipple balms and nipple ointments that are on the market, they, for the most part, unless it's a tiny brand I don't know about, but the big ones are, they moisturize and they protect. They don't have anything in them that's really actually like helping to heal your
Okay.
wounds and scabs and skin and all that. And so they're just mainly adding moisture, and then the beeswax is protecting from outside. Are things that are in ours, like the tallow. The tallow is like amazing. I love tallow. It has so many vitamins and nutrients. It also helps other ingredients absorb into your skin better and penetrate deeper. And then another thing I love about mine is the applicator is angled. So it's got a bigger hole. So you just squeeze a tiny bit out because a little bit goes a long way. And then you can apply it. You don't have to like dig your finger into a tube or tub, get it all in your fingernail, like not sanitary, product wasted. You can just squeeze a little bit out and apply it and be on your way.
Sounds magical to me.
Yes.
Honestly, there's
Yes.
nothing worse than the feeling of product like lotion getting under your fingernail. That's like one of my top, can't handle it.
Right.
So
Well, and I'm like, you know how much bacteria, even if you wash your hands, is like
it's
still under your fingernail?
fingernails.
And then you're like
Oh.
pulling that out, getting that on your open wound. I'm like, who are these men that run these companies?
Isn't that a question for a lot of things? A lot of things where moms are missing. What else does product expansion look like for you?
I have a whole list of products that I want to work on, but I do want to do a diaper rash spray, which these were not around when I had my small children. Definitely not 14 years ago. I had never heard of a diaper rash spray. It says genius. I'll have to check her out.
So maybe there is potential in like learning from that with the spray bottles.
Right. Yeah.
So then looking back at where you started and where you are now and where you're going to be in the next few months, what would you say is your biggest piece of advice for other moms who have an idea from their experience as moms and noticing what we're missing during these chapters of life, but they're just not quite sure where to start?
So I would start, well, probably the first place I would start would be listening to podcasts. So I learned a lot from podcasts.
Okay.
There's one amazing podcast called Startup CPG.
Okay.
They have like it's like one of the top CPG podcasts in the world. And they have like the largest Slack channel. It's at like 35,000 or 36,000 something right now. They do have service providers mixed with founders in it, but it's very beneficial. You can ask questions on there. It's so helpful. So maybe joining some Slack channels. Tried to follow CPG brands on Instagram to try to like learn some, but just, I feel like reaching out and doing as much research as you can, but also just take that first step.
Yeah.
There's a ton of programs and stuff too, like accelerators and cohorts that you can get into. I've been in one. I did an interview last week for another one. But you can definitely learn a lot getting mentors and stuff in there. And I think just not being afraid to ask questions to people, like reaching out. You never know who will. I heard a story about somebody who, there was some huge guy on LinkedIn, and she was like, no way he's going to respond back and be willing to mentor me for free. But he did. And she was
That's
like,
awesome.
so you just never know who will say yes to helping. But I think if you're inventing a product, I would say your first step is filing a patent and looking into a college that does the inventor's assistant services, if there's one near you. Honestly, Oklahoma State, I don't even know if you have to be in the state of Oklahoma for it, but I didn't have to like go do site visits or anything like that. So looking into programs that help people with startups and inventing products.
All right.
But just do it. Or you can send me your idea and I'll just do it.
That's awesome. I mean, you guys hear it. You're hearing it here first. Just get started. Look into the programs. We all need that product that you're thinking of. There's like a 99% chance that we need it. So this is your sign if you've been looking for a sign, right?
Right. I mean, check into it. There's no harm, no foul. Like, I mean, I'm self-funded. So I'm a lot of money into this. Right now. And so it's all scary, but you have to take risks. That's why somebody probably hasn't already invented or created your product, because they were scared to take risks. So don't be scared to take risks.
So then, Melissa, tell our listeners where they can find you on socials, where they can find the product. That way they can actually follow along your journey.
So our website is just momaid.com, and it's all coming soon. As soon as we know officially that we can do the launch date, we're aiming for April 1st, but TBD on that. By the time this airs, it'll be on there. So momaid.com. And then our Instagram is my_momaid. They wouldn't let me do MomAid for some reason. Our Facebook is MomAid, and then our TikTok is MomAid. And then my personal is melissa.and.farrow. And so you can go follow us on all of those. And I try to keep everybody up to date the best I can on all of that. And then I did message my marketing guy and said I was going to do a promo for any of your people listening. So just do podcast 20, and that'll get you 20% off of our website.
And I will put that in the show notes for everybody. But again, that's podcast 20, and that will give you a discount code. Thank you so much, Melissa. That's so good for them. And then everybody can try the product, and not only try a product, but also find one that works for them, which is very hard to do.
Yes.
Well, thank you again for coming onto the podcast today and telling me more about your business and your journey and your growth and expansion. It's really inspiring to hear about another mom trying to make a difference in this world, especially one that's for other moms specifically. So thank you so much for coming on and telling me more about it.
Thank you for having me. And if any moms out there are tossing around an idea and want someone to bounce ideas off of or anything, just reach out to me on Instagram. And I'm happy to message you back and forth and help any way I can.
Amazing. Thank you all so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Working Moms Playbook. Again, I'm your host, Antonia. Be sure to subscribe, comment if you liked this episode, shoot me an email, follow us on socials, whatever you need so that you don't miss an episode out every single Wednesday. Thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you next week.
Thank you so much for making it to the end of this episode of the Working Moms Playbook. And also, thank you so much for sharing this episode with any and every working mom who might benefit. Also, thank you for subscribing. It means so much to be able to continue to grow this village of working moms in a world where our villages can feel fairly small. Keep an eye out for next week's episode, always debuting on a Wednesday, and I can't wait to see you there.